of History, the Countryball series. In the first quarter, we will learn about Paul and his missionary journeys, the conflicts between the Jews and the Romans, and the early church. We will first learn about Paul and his missionary journeys. Before AD 35 and before he became Jesus Christ's apostle to the Gentiles, he captured and gave his consent to kill Christians. However, in AD 35, Paul encountered Jesus Christ on his way to Damascus. This is where his missionary journeys began. In his first missionary journey, John Mark traveled with Paul and Barnabas. However, he eventually left them midway. They started from Palestine to Cyprus, then to Asia Minor, and then back to Palestine. This happened between AD 46 to 47. In the second missionary journey, Paul traveled with Timothy and Silas. They traveled from Syria to Asia Minor, Greece, Palestine, and returned to Syria. The second missionary journey happened between AD 48 or 49 to 51. The third missionary journey was the longest, lasting from AD 52 to 57. In this journey, Paul traveled with Timothy to almost the same places in the second journey. In this journey, he traveled from Syria to Asia Minor, Greece, and finally Palestine. In Palestine, he was captured by the Romans. After his capture, he appealed to the Roman emperor. Hence, he was ordered to be brought to his presence. On their way to Rome, they stopped at Crete and got shipwrecked at Malta in AD 60. When they reached Rome, he was under house arrest, but was given the freedom to go around Rome with a soldier guarding him. Not long after, Nero became the emperor, where he used Christians as scapegoats for the Great Fire of Rome. He supposedly beheaded Paul in the process. We now look into the lives of the Jews and the Romans. We'll first examine the life of Nero. He murdered many people, including his mother and a half-brother. In AD 66 to 70, some Jews staged a revolt, which was crushed. Another important figure in the Roman Empire was Josephus the historian. He wrote about the Jewish history. Moving on, an event that helped archaeologists learn more about ancient Rome was the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79. Apart from these events, the Second Jewish Revolt happened in AD 135, led by Bar Kokhba. For a time, they managed to establish a Jewish state. However, the Romans crushed it. Furthermore, in AD 284 to 35, Diocletian split the Roman Empire into two and assigned the western part to Maximian while he continued to rule the eastern part. However, when Constantine became the emperor, he united the two empires under his rule. In 313, he wrote the Edict of Milan, which freed Christians from persecution. After his death, the empire was split again, and the western part was defeated by the Germanic tribes in 476, while the eastern part was not conquered until the rise of the Ottoman Empire. Finally, we'll talk about the early church. From AD 64 to 2 AD, Christians were persecuted. Before we continue with the early church, we first fast forward to 1947, where a Bedouin boy found the Dead Sea Scrolls dating back to 100 BC to AD 75. Going back, Valentine was a martyr who was beheaded in AD 269. And the last one on my list is the Apostles' Creed, written between the 2nd to 7th centuries. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye for now.